All right, and today we are dealing with how much to charge.
Right.
It comes down to the money.
Yeah. So we got a question about how much you should charge your clients, your customers, and there's two perspectives on this. So there's the retail side, which is the product side, online store, in-person store products. And then there's the service-based side. So we're going to touch on both of those. I'm going to tackle services.
Nice.
When it comes to creative services, there's a huge range of pricing options, obviously. There's the way of billing for your time, and then there's the way of billing for the value of that project or that product, right? And it is going to obviously be based on how many hours roughly, but I mean, if it takes you 3 hours to do something that makes a company, you know, $1 million, you probably shouldn't just be charging them for 3 hours of work, right? So there's the value-based pricing as well. And that works to some people's advantage when it comes to a really small business or a nonprofit. Obviously, you're not going to charge them the same amount because it's worth a little bit less to them at that point, right? So time versus value is a big thing. My word of caution is not to bill by the hour, starting off at a very low rate, billing by the hour, because people then start to equate that with you. It's like, oh, you charge $20 an hour, great, that means I can get my business card for $20. And realistically, that's not gonna be a sustainable business for you because you're actually not working 24 hours a day.
Right.
You're not gonna have enough clients to keep you busy, even for 8 hours a day when you first start out. So the billing by the hour and starting yourself at that low rate makes it difficult for you to increase later on. And I've experienced that with some of my freelance clients. So when I transitioned to now Creative Group as kind of an agency model, it's very difficult to kind of transition, you know, those low prices over because at an agency, it's a different business model, right? And you wanna have the ability to price that will allow you to grow and not just cover your current costs.
Very, very good advice.
So what about you when it comes to products?
Okay, so when it comes to the products, a little different, but there's some of those things that are involved with service you still have to apply. In short, every product has a cost. So you're selling a tomato, let's call this a tomato, and the tomato costs 10 cents, right? So you already know that you can't charge 10 cents, obviously. So that's the kind of minimum you're working with. And then there's a roof as well, because how much can a tomato actually be? Nobody's gonna buy a $10 tomato unless it's a really good tomato. So now you're working with that at the top and 10 cents at the bottom. So what goes into selling this tomato? Well, you know, let's go back to a cup. There's the actual cup has a cost. The lid has a cost. The tea that's going into the cup has a cost. The water you're using has a cost. The tea bag has a cost. And then the person who's going to, you know, that's actually working, that's giving the customer the tea, they're getting paid. And you know, you put all these different factors and you have to literally dissect all these different factors into your pricing. Now it may be cents, you know, and then you got to put your profit onto that, you know, and within there, you will get hopefully a nice healthy price that a consumer is willing to pay based on their perception of value. And that's where it kind of becomes the same thing as service, because, you know, if I don't think this is worth a certain amount, I'm not going to pay that. So it's up to the business owner to say, okay, this is my cost, I gotta cover it, I wanna make a profit or I'm not doing business, but also I'm fulfilling the value in what I'm selling, and the consumer sees that.
Right, and it's the experience. I think it's a big part of the Tea by Daniel experience. And with the service-based business, you are selling them that experience, right? It's that whole thing, like with Now Creative Group, you know, you're not just coming to a freelancer that's working on his own, you're coming to someone that has a whole team, and we're gonna guide you through that experience together. We're gonna always be available for you. We're gonna have the ability to jump in and execute things last minute sometimes. You're paying for that experience, you're paying for our availability, and with a tea shop as well, you know, again, you can go buy tea on your own from the grocery store, you can buy it in bulk and make your own tea bags somehow if you really have the time and the desire to do that. But if you're going, but if you're coming to Tea by Daniel, You're buying it for the experience, the way you're treated, the options they have, the fun way that they approach it.
People put value on those things, and that's what justifies the price.
Yes, just like a restaurant. You talked about the $10 tomato. I'm sure people do spend $10 for a tomato when they're at a fine dining
100%.
restaurant, and they do that because that the experience and the service are there. So again, the warning is not to price yourself too low, but don't price yourself too high that you're pricing yourself out of business. And then always take into account the value that you're offering your clients.
I'm Daniel.
And I'm Daniel.
We want you guys to join us at danielshow.co.
Business tips, entrepreneurship advice. We're going to make things simple for you. We're going to break it down.
Watch our videos and don't forget to subscribe. We want you guys to join us.